Hello out there in YouTube land. Welcome to another installment from my filthy yet highly entertaining garage. Here is the project for the day. It is installing a quarter panel on a 72 Cuda. It's a 72. This is a 70 quarter panel because I'm changing the car to look like a 70. For all you restoration dudes out there, this was a total shell, piece of junk, needs everything from about the back seat back. And this is going to be an end result that we're looking for on the other side. I've already got this one fitted. A little bit of work done on there. So we're going to take the quarter panel that's in that box and we're going to install that over on the driver's side slowly but surely. So let's get to work. So to get started, I thought we'd talk about some of the tools we need to get a quarter panel off and on the back of your car like this. One of the first things you're going to need is something like a map torch. I use one of these. You can buy them at Home Depot or wherever. I like MAP better than propane because of course it burns a lot hotter, and what that's going to be used for is to melt the lead out of the seams. So when you look at your new quarter panel, you'll figure out that there's a seam that goes directly under the roof line right here, and then there's another one that's down at the very bottom on the rocker, sitting right there, and those seams are full of lead, which is what the automotive manufacturers used to use instead of body filler. Probably telling you guys stuff you know already. So one of the things you got to do is you've got to use that MAP torch and melt the lead out of all those seams. Weld will not stick to lead, so you got to make sure and clean that off really good before you start spot welding or stitch welding that thing back in there. Other stuff that I use, these are a collection of seam busters. Several people make these. I'm not sure what brand name this is, but you can find those at Eastwood. You can find them all over the internet. Basically pieces of hardened steel, got some sharp edges on them. So you can whack those things with a hammer. You can see that one's a little bit bent. I've been using that one pretty good. But once you drill out any spot welds, the goal is, at least to me, is to drill through the spot weld to a point where it's thin enough where I can get a seam buster in there and make it release. I try not to drill through both panels if I can stand it. If you do, that's okay. You can put a piece of copper or something behind the hole and weld that thing up with a MIG welder, which I use an ESAB Rebel, which is a great machine. Other things that you're going to need something to drill out spot welds. A couple of different ways you can do it. You can buy the El Cheapo stuff from over at Harbor Freight. Works, doesn't work really well. This is probably the high dollar way to go. It's a Rotobroach spot weld cutter kit from Blair. Comes with the extension, the actual Rotobroach itself. I think it comes with 3 of them, and these are replaceable, so you just unscrew that off the end. So you center punch the spot weld, put the drill bit on there, and then the drill bit collapses as you push in on it, and you get the Rotobroach that cuts the spot weld. Those are pretty expensive. So the ones that I typically use come 3 to a set. These are off of eBay. I think they were 12 bucks or so. No tax, shipped to me. They're stubby spot weld cutters. They've got a point on the end of them. Again, center punch a spot weld. Pick the size that you need. So these are 3 different sizes. Comes in a small, a medium, and a large. And then you use those to drill out the center of the spot weld until you can use a seam buster to bust it out of there. There are some that are longer than these, but I like using the short ones. Better control. You can get them into tighter spaces, and they don't seem to break. So those are the things that we'll use. Other stuff that we are going to need, I use a bunch of different hammers, body dollies. You'll need some sheet metal screws. Self-tapping is what I use, kind of to hold everything together and get that lined up before I weld. And then I'll use a Sawzall to take the other quarter panel out. So this is the one that's already done. If we go around the back of the car, you'll see that this Cuda needs just about everything. You're gonna have to have new frame rails on both sides. Got the trunk pan in the back, and here's the quarter panel down the driver's side. I've got some of it cut out, and we can see we're going to have to replace this wheel well, at least the outer, on this side. So I ordered one of those. The rest of it, you know, there's a lot of rust holes all the way up through here. That's going to all come out with the quarter panel. And then I've got this this part here is a drip rail for the trunk. So I got a new drip rail, new tail pan, blah 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 blah. So things you got to take off. Well, you got to cut out all the spot welds down the front of the door here where it's held in, and also down at the bottom. We got to get the lead out of this seam, as well as the one down by the rocker panel down there. And then we're going to work on getting it to release from this center valance panel that kind of goes between the two quarter panels. There's a little bit of a ridge there that I'm going to have to work on, but that's not such a big deal. That's probably body dolly work. Other things that got to be replaced, where you see the hearing protection down there, because hey, safety third. You got this extension for the trunk drop-off extension right there. That's going to have to go to. If you want to see a good example of how not to do body work, that right there, folks, is about half to, in some places, probably 3/4 of an inch of body filler. That is not how we fix things. It's one way to do it. I guess it's a technique, but not recommended.